Olivia, you got my emails about those advisory committees minutes?
Yeah, I just haven't got to look back
Okay.
at it and see
No, that's
whatever
cool.
you need to make.
Yeah, there was a couple of them that were already up that you sent.
Okay. I'll look at it.
All right.
All right, Tracy, I just sent it to you.
Okay. Just came through. All right, let me go verify that it is working. Yep, we're good.
All right, I'm gonna move everybody over.
All right, I'm going on mute.
Okay, I got the notice, as I'm sure you all did, that we are currently live. So Raven, if you would like to call the meeting to order, and Dr. Van, if you want to do her the favor of going ahead and calling the roll of the members.
Let me pull up the, I'll go ahead and do that. Just give me a second. Get ready for that. Okay, let's see. Dr. Nikolic,
Present.
Dr. Craven,
I'm here.
Raven Lewis,
Present.
Varsha Guzman,
Present.
and you have a quorum of the body present today, ma'am.
And then just so the record will reflect, Sarah Deo and Shelley Esnard from LAPA are joining us. And also Dr. Clark, Rod Clark is our LSBME member that is assisting this particular advisory committee, and he's on the call as well. So,
Okay.
Also, I guess they probably didn't. Olivia, did you all give her the script about public comment and all that? I'm guessing not, maybe.
Yes,
No.
typically send it to everyone. I can resend it to her right now, Patricia, if you
Or
need.
just read it. You can read it. Do you have it in front of you?
I don't. I'll have to find it. Just give me
No,
a
I
second.
don't have it in front of me either.
Okay.
All right. Please note any comments by the public are welcome and can be emailed to publiccomment@lsbme.la.gov. Dr. Collada, please confirm you verified the identity of all tele and video conference participants.
I have.
Is the sound clear and audible to the public and those on the tele and video conference?
It is.
Yes.
All additions to the executive or public agenda must be made presently, as we will no longer make additions to the agenda after the close of the public session. A roll call of the quorum has been confirmed. You may start.
Okay, I'd like to formally call this meeting between the LSBME and Physician Advisory Board Committee underway.
If I can make a suggestion, can we invite either Sarah or Shelley to address you all as far as what concerns they had that were reflected in the letter and what they would like to see going forward?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute myself and apologize in advance because it's the soccer hour, and so there's movement in my household that could involve a dog barking. So I'll try to mute if that occurs. So, thanks for inviting us and giving us the opportunity to speak and kind of share these concerns that we had. And when we asked to have a meeting with just the chairman and Patricia to request maybe a reboot or a different approach in how we were addressing the issues. And I think the first issue that we had was, and Patricia, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm still trying to piece it all together from the different meetings, is the only rule that has actually been drafted as a revision is that in relationship to the billing and reimbursement issue, correct?
That's right.
Everything
That's the
else has
only
been
one
sort
that
of-
we had the actual
Right.
language for. The rest of them, the way we had
Sort of
envisioned
conceptual.
this was to get them all done, get the instructions for all of them, and then come back and present them as a cohesive whole for the committee to vote up or down.
Right. So for that one, the main issue, and I think it sort of goes back to just the spirit in which the whole process was intended, is if the pain point can be solved with a rule change, great, let's change the rule. If the pain point can't be solved with a rule change, then let's go to the legislature and not let's make a rule change that doesn't serve any purpose or that maybe makes matters more confusing or even more potentially additional barriers. So with that one, the concern was it didn't address the main pain point, which was the direct reimbursement arm of that limiting language. So that was a concern for that one. And then in the most recent meeting in January, we got the invitation to attend around noon that day. And so we weren't really prepared to discuss all of those issues. Actually, nobody could even attend. And in looking back at the transcript, a lot of discussion occurred that was concerning, specifically that there seemed to not be actual language proposed, but language, in looking at the minutes today that Olivia sent, which was helpful, around kind of changing to a backup collaborative physician, which just potentially creates more confusion because the law requires supervision. And so introducing new terminology and rules kind of threw us. We'd all be all for collaboration, but not if it's not mirrored in the law. And so it just kind of threw us for how we could move forward without having actual language to review as an organization and work together to come to a resolution. And if it can't be resolved here, then we weren't looking for, additional changes or rules that wouldn't be particularly helpful, but rather go back to Senator Luneau to say, this one we can't seem to make it work with a rule change. We think it needs to be a statutory change. So what we proposed to Patricia was kind of, I think, what we envisioned in the first place, which is it's hard in this venue in limited time to really get down into the nitty gritty of some of these issues and go back and forth with, what if we change this word to that word? And that's how we've done it in the past. And my most recent recollection was around 2014-15, when we had modifications to prescriptive authority. And that's when we drafted the performance plan originally. And the two parties just went back and forth until we hashed it out, and conversation could be a little deeper and more time could be devoted to it. And then it was brought to this committee to vote on, or to consider for vote. So that's kind of what we were requesting. What we were hoping is that if we could, kind of take a step back and maybe not try to hash all this out in this limited time frame, because these issues are pretty intense and there's a lot of stakeholders and potentially a lot of unintended consequences or complications or potential barriers that could be created. And we want to make sure that we get it right and that everybody's satisfied and happy with a rule change that we, in the end, don't want to oppose. So that was our proposition to Patricia and Crystal. Did you want to add anything, Patricia, to that?
Yeah, sure. Which I think is it's not unreasonable. And I offered that if it was the direction of the committee and the board, that we do some preliminary work offline and come with something that represents, our ability to craft something that looks like it might be beneficial. That's not to say that any advisory committee member might vote against it or want to change it or do anything with it, or that when that is noticed on the agenda for the meeting that it will be discussed, that other contingencies or factions of people in the PA world who actually think it's a terrible idea and we're just totally off our rockers would come and propose alternatives as well. I mean, from what I understand, the task force concept, which brought together if I understood correctly, a diverse group of people, didn't really get very far and wasn't very workable. Or I should say, it didn't end with a result that everybody could endorse. And so I think we're going to have to try to hit a sweet spot maybe where a couple of 2 or 3 people on our staff on our side, frankly, and then staff on LAPA's side can do the preliminary work, simply because none of us have a vote. We don't vote on anything. You all are the ones that vote. But maybe a procedure whereby we get some preliminary thoughts together, and maybe it's in the form of, this is what we think, but in all candor to the committee, that there are folks that think the opposite way, and this is this is the naysayer, or this is the devil's advocate side to it. Maybe there won't be anything like that. I don't know. Maybe this is all just wording and something we can fix with the wording that everyone's comfortable with. It's not the concept that's bad. Maybe it's the wording. I don't know. But if the committee is amenable, I was just trying to avoid, and forgive those who y'all have heard me say this already. It kind of felt a little bit like chess by mail, and so much time was going by between an idea or a concept or a suggestion being put out into the advisory committee atmosphere, and then interested parties would go back and think about it, and then they'd come back a month later and say what they had to say about that, or not say anything but still not agree with it, whatever. And so I felt like it was not a bad suggestion. It was not an unhelpful suggestion if we try a route where a couple of board staff and a couple of LAPA staff try to sit down and try to work on some preliminary thoughts and bring actual proposed language, maybe more than one option for proposed language even. Bring it to the committee at that point when y'all can have a substantive discussion about if you like the suggestion and if it's something you want to go forward with. Because at the end of the day, as we all know, you all will be making a recommendation to the full board. So we're actually going to go do this all over again, to the extent that there's not, you know, everybody in the world thinks this is the greatest thing, and no board member would ever question it, you know, whatever, and no legislator would ever question it. I mean, we're a few steps away from any of it going from idea to reality, but that would be, I would be inclined to accommodate LAPA in their view of how we could best proceed in a more efficient manner that gets some of the initial things out of the way before it even gets to you all. I'd like to hear what Dr. Clark, as the board member too, I'd like to, besides the committee members, I sure would love to hear what his reaction to that possibility is as well.
Let me unmute myself here. Thank you all for the invitation. I think as a board member, we want to be able to support whatever the committee brings to us. And we want to be sure that they've had the time to do their due diligence and developing something that they're comfortable with. So we're patient, we're waiting, but we're waiting for the best product. I think, you know, I've been on most of the calls, and I think it's been a lot of good discussion. And I think if the discussion needs to continue, let it continue. If not, we can press on with bringing something to the board. I kind of agree with what Ms. Wilton said. If there's a group that wants to get together and see if they can hone this into a better product, I think the board would be comfortable in waiting for that product. So if you have any questions for me, I hope I can answer some. But Ms. Wilton, I don't know if that's what you wanted me to fulfill or not, but that's kind of where I think the board is right now.
That's exactly what I wanted for everyone to hear, and myself to hear what you thought about it. I don't know if any of the board members, I mean the committee members, I should say, have a feeling one way or the other. And to be fair, you all have already looked at the rules and given some generalized indications, given us, you know, you voted on various sections and what you wanted to have happen. What you didn't vote on was how that language would actually be implemented. So in good faith for Sarah and Shelley, it would be, that's what we would be bringing as the initial point of discussion. And then if they have concerns that they were either not prepared to voice at the time that those discussions were had in the committee meeting, or since then they've thought of different ways to approach it or whatever. I mean, you know, I would assume that the committee is open to, you know, the implementation of those things in the way that best satisfies everybody, but not necessarily going all the way back to square one, because there were some pretty healthy discussions and good debates and pros and cons, and votes were taken. So rather than perhaps having to go back and, you know, reconsider all those votes, it would just be understood among us all that we understand what you voted to have the outcome be, and we can work on trying to make it happen in a way that's palatable for everyone concerned, and bring that back to you to vote up or down, the actual language. Do any of the committee members, Ms. Varsha, Dr. Nikolic, do y'all have any thoughts about going forward in that way?
Nothing that differs to anything that Dr. Craven said.
Okay. Ms. Lewis, did you want to?
Yeah, I am in agreement that I do think a smaller group to have more intense talk and legwork. I think that would probably be much more conducive. I mean, it's hard to try to address some of these issues, and as Sarah said, they are intense, and they will involve a lot of discussion. We saw how long we even discussed at the last meeting. Each issue did take quite some time, and probably even needs some additional time other than what was taken at the last meeting. So I agree with that, and having LAPA involved in that is going to be important. It's unfortunate that they were not able to be present at the last meeting. So I'm in agreement for a collaborative effort for sure.
Okay. Did anybody else want to weigh in? Well,
Look at what we've already voted.
Ms. Varsha, you are virtually unintelligible. I'm so sorry.
Can't hear you, Varsha. I don't know if it's connection.
Well, while Varsha's reconnecting, this is Shelley. And at first, I just wanted to say thank you all for allowing us to come and be a part of the meeting. And I definitely wholeheartedly believe that if we had some time, like you guys said, kind of separating into a smaller group and really serving up to the committee, whether it's a 1, 2, 3, a good, better, best option, we have a lot of resources and we really do want to be a part of it. Obviously, all of you guys probably are working full time, and so is everyone on our committee. And so it is hard to kind of show up at the 9th inning and feel confident to give any good recommendations, or if we needed to kind of go back and do some legwork on a certain issue, kind of utilizing the time to get the data and the information. So I really do look forward to being a part of it and propelling, whatever we can to move forward and, solve some of these issues, easily through rules and whatever else the committee feels necessary. So I think this would be a great idea.
How do we propose to not violate the public meetings law, get the work done, and when do you all want to start?
Well, I think what we should do in that regard is, I think you and I should work with Shelley and Sarah and as staff, and then possibly loop in Crystal if she wants to be, or if she wants to tap someone else to be the advisory committee member helping with that process. They won't be meetings, they'll be conversations, they'll be work done by staff, and the only time that anything is presented to the advisory committee as a whole and in a public meeting in a quorum format would be, after some background work is done by staff and interested parties and brought to the committee for its further deliberation and consideration and action.
Works for me. So when are we going to have the first meeting?
Well, we'll figure that out.
Okay.
We'll coordinate. I'm sure that Shelley and Sarah have some set things in their schedules the same way you and I do, and we'll just try to figure out when we can squeeze in something with some regularity, an hour a week or a couple hours every 2 weeks or something like that, whatever works best for them and us. I was just hoping that this would seem palatable to the committee as a pathway to go forward, and also to the board as represented by Dr. Clark. And if so, we could get the actual logistics worked out among ourselves.
I'm all for it. Let's make it happen.
This is Dr. Craven. Just as being a part of this committee, look, I think this would make the most sense. I think after participating on this for the last, I don't know how many months, I think this sidebar working, collectively, collaboratively together is probably is going to provide us the most benefit kind of moving forward. I think it's been kind of clunky. It's hard to make big change just on these calls. But I think, in speaking to the board members, myself, I think there is a genuine effort on both sides to make this a better relationship for everybody involved. And I'm committed. Whatever I can do to help or be a sounding board, I'll make myself available.
Dr. Claudia, you think we're good to go with just this instruction from each of the members, or do you think they need to vote on something? Or
I think probably the most important, it would be nice if they voted on it, because I want everybody to make sure that everybody understands we're kind of changing course a little bit. We're going to go back and retry and do this in a different manner. And I don't want the advisory committee to not understand that this is a change. It's going to delay some things, but I'm perfectly happy with it and we can move along. I want them all to understand that it's not going to be as fast as we'd hoped, and we may not be ready for the session unless we really work hard.
okay, well then I would respectfully ask someone who might be willing on the advisory committee to move that staff be directed to work with the LAPA staff to work on preliminary language that can then be brought to the advisory committee for their consideration and deliberation.
I so move for such work group.
I second it.
Raven, would you like to call for a vote?
Yes, I'd like to call for a vote, but I have a question before. So you said staff and LAPA, and you also mean as well one member of the physician advisory board as well. Correct?
Yes. I would hope that one member of your advisory committee would be willing to. And I guess when Crystal gets back, I can ask if she would like to do it, or if she doesn't, if she wants to request that one of you all assist us.
Okay. All right. And so now we're just moving to vote on this motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I move that we vote for allowing a collaborative group effort between the staff and LAPA and Physician Advisory Board to discuss preliminary language for change.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and if you just want to ask for everybody to say yay or nay.
Okay, all those in agreement, please say yay.
Yay.
In agreement.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, we have two in agreement, three counting myself that I heard.
Yeah, Borsch is muted.
Oh, I don't wonder if she's still having connection.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, my vote is yeah.
It sounded like yes.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Everybody kind of agree with that? Okay, sounded like yes. So that's
all right. Well, listen, thank y'all so very much. I really appreciate this, and I do think it's gonna be much more of a process that brings you something that that will work and actually get to an end result. So thanks so much.
Great.
I think
Thank you all very much.
Well, I think we have an executive session, right?
Yes, we have an executive session now.
I think they need to approve the minutes from the February meeting, unless y'all are foregoing those, Patricia.
Ms. Raven, would you call for a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I move to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Hearing none, your minutes are approved, and you need a motion to go into executive session.
Okay. All those in favor of moving to go towards executive session, please say aye.
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 All right, give us a second. We'll move you to executive session. We can proceed on with the work that needs to be done in executive session.
For everyone, this is Rod. Have a great evening. I'm going to sign off and avoid the executive session. Thank you very much.
All
Thank you,
right,
Dr.
Rod.
Clark.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
buddy.
Take care. Bye-bye.
We're going to be moved into a new room for the executive session.
Vorsha, are you on a cell phone? Okay, looks like everyone's back.
We are, the case number disappeared off of my screen for me to be able to refer to it.
Let me give it to you 1 second, please, ma'am.
I just found it. Sorry, sir. Here it is.
Case number is 2022-566.
Okay. Perfect. All right. In the manner of case 2022-566, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the preliminary recommendations as stated by the DOI to the committee.
I
All
second it.
those, any opposed? Okay. Physician Advisory Board will accept preliminary recommendations in regards to case 2022-566 as stated by the DOI.
Thank you very much.
All right. All business has been conducted. At this point, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Hearing no objections, thank you all very much for your time, and we will hope to be back to you shortly. Thank you very much.